Okay, we have talked about the need to have a clear understanding of how you want to proceed in your research, okay, in your investigation. So you have a title, or the teachers are going to give you a title or topic for your assignment. Now, uh, you need, as I've said before, you need to know the methods. What direction should I be taking depends on your methodology. What kind of books should I be searching for? What kind of material should I be investigating in the internet? Should I be doing a questionnaires? All those kinds of things. The means for your research or the direction depends on your methodology. Okay, methodology and the methods which you will do it. So in that way, what is methodology then? When you have a title, and as I've said before, when you have a title, you need to proceed to a certain direction. The way you want to proceed, you have different options. You can proceed to write from missiological understanding, or a New Testament understanding, or an Old Testament understanding, or religion. And depending on the way you want to write, you have certain perspective, you have certain principle which will be which will govern your area of interest, which will lead you to where you want to go. Okay, so methodology is that umbrella term where we have where we use certain ideas as our own perspective, which leads our research. So when we talk about perspective, which simply means you can just simply take it as a spectacle, okay, or a sunglass. So perspective means view, to see. How are you going to see your topic with? If you suppose, have you heard the story of, how the cow did not want to eat that dry hay, the hay, the pole hay, which the color is often pale yellow, okay, or almost translucent, like almost colorless. So the cow do not want to eat. The cow wanted to eat a green grass, and there was no green grass. So what did the cow owner do? It seems he let the cow wear a green spectacle or a green sunglass. And so, through that green sunglass, the cow started to see the hay as green in color, and he started eating it. Well, that's just a story on illustration. It would be very interesting to see a cow wearing a green sunglasses. But this is basically, it explains what we're trying to say here. The different topics that you have, depending on how you want to put your spectacle. Is your spectacle going to be a missiological spectacle? Is your spectacle going to be from a New Testament spectacle? Is your spectacle going to be from an exegetical study spectacle? Or is it going to be an Old Testament spectacle, religion spectacle? You have a different spectacle that you can use. Those spectacles which can simply be understood as the methodology. Okay, the methodology. Now, ang tak nama methodology zukrildan. Ngaidani ne ya til zik tu mine ya. Kai ngaidan ka in department a noli ngang hi manai ilungril su klek afedan hai ti jing ta kai zukril. Ito tungdan tak idea ni ka. Katakel ka spectacle ang nini. So let's also explain this methodology by giving two more metaphors, okay, illustrations. The first one is, you can think of methodology as the blueprint for your house. Okay, the style, the blueprint. For instance, you want to build a house, right? There are so many styles available. Now, you must have, before you are researching or before you are collecting materials, even for building materials, you must know what kind of style you want to write or build. In a house, what kind of house do you want? What kind of style do you need? Is it like the European style, or like the snow covered style where you have a long roof that almost reaches to the bottom? Or is it like more like the Mughal style of architect where you have the Taj Mahal, the Red Fort, and all those big things, or the Victorian styles or the British styles of building? Or is it like a very simple type of building? You know, so depending on the type of building you want to build, you are going to collect the materials. Okay, and you are going to start building from their materials. So in that way, the type of building you want to build is comparable to the methodology you want to use in writing your paper. In a zuksima, in a bola, a bolding mind in ang inamana edit. Mo a style in ang mana. Puida bubai bolding ni nole big in style o man nole mihisola ya mi pa kapan pa style mani. Mo kaka a style is ilkan, a style itilzi kais a style kay sukfel potangay ni. Ilungri la kana fel potangay ni. Chu a fel pot nung chun material collecting choni. Mo a fel ma material collection zium no ding is all for me mean I collect ang lay till sim to mo in milton osin. So before you have that certain perspective or the governing principle of how you want to proceed your research, do not collect materials. It will just be a waste of your time. Suppose you collect so many materials and suddenly you wanted to build a different style. It's just like a waste of time. Okay. Anyway, some people I have known, they wanted to collect materials before they finally set their mind on how they want to write, and they often, just keep those materials around without making use of it. But the best way to approach is to have a clear idea of how we want to proceed. What kind of methodology should I be using in my paper? Okay, in my studies or in my research. Now comes the methods. After methodology, after you are sure of the methodology or the umbrella term or the perspective or the spectacle which you will be wearing, then comes the method. So let's take another example of Paka building. So you want to build a Paka building. Now building a Paka building is using those concrete building, RCC type building. So you want to build a Paka building, and in order to build a Paka building, your mind is set on building a Paka building. You write a blueprint. Then you started to collect the materials. Okay, that research, collecting the materials. So you collect stones, you collect bricks, you collect iron rods, you collect cement, you collect woods for the windows if you want to use, or aluminum, steel, so many other things you want to collect. Okay, now when you collect those materials and your idea is to build a Paka building, the methods are those smaller steps. The methods are those smaller steps which will eventually help you to build, depending on your methodology. Okay. So in terms of Paka building, you have collected those raw materials. Now the methods are those which helps you, like laying the foundation, laying the rods, building the bricks, the wall, and even pouring cement on the concrete on the top, and what else? So many other methods. Those simple, not simple, but individual detailed methods, which goes on into building your Paka building. Okay, the steps that are necessarily taken. The step that you take to build a Paka building implies the methods or indicate the methods. So what are the methods? They are the smaller steps, the detailed steps that you used in your research paper. So there's a slight difference there. The methodology is the bigger picture in a sense that you're building, it defines your building. But the methods will help you to eventually establish your building or help you to finish building. So in that way, when it comes to research paper, if you want to write a missiological perspective on the book of Jonah or the story of Jonah, okay, how he ran away and how he came back and all those, if you wanted to write it from a missiological perspective, then missiological perspective becomes your methodology. Because it's a very big thing, missiological thing, and you have not done all the details yet. So, if your teacher give you write an assignment on Jonah, the prophet Jonah, then suddenly you started thinking, what will be the best way of approaching this thing? Shall I approach it from a missiological understanding, or shall I approach it from an Old Testament teaching? You can even approach it from a historical studies or religion studies also. Okay, so however you want to approach it, make sure you have the methodology first. Now when you have a missiological methodology as a mere methodology, now what is the next step? The next step is to do an investigation. You collect materials. Okay, you collect materials basing on missiology. So you need to look at books. All your spectacle is missiological now. Okay, so you must not confuse. Here it's very crucial that you must not confuse your raw materials, collection of your raw materials with your methodology. This is very easy. Let me give an illustration again from the Paka building. You are building a Paka building. You wanted to build a Paka building. Paka building is your methodology, right? Now, suppose you started to go and investigate and you started to collect raw materials like mud, like woods, like bamboos. Of course, you need those things, but like tiles and all those. And there are no bricks, there are no stones, there are no iron rods, no cement. Will you be able to build a Paka building from those mud, bamboos, wires? Hardly. No, you will not. It's not concrete. That is not the materials you need to build a Paka building. Okay, that same principle works in research also. You want to write a book on the missiological perspective of Jonah, you cannot simply go and search for materials that are not related to the missiological subject. If you started to do those things, eventually your paper is going to be so awkward. You might not even receive a pass mark for it. Just imagine you wanted to build a Paka house, and then you're letting it turn into a mud house or a some type house. See the difference there. Okay, there is an example. Students used to do this because they are not clear. Sometimes they wanted to cheat, and sometimes they don't want to. They are not clear about how to proceed. They used to have a problem. Methodology is to cheating in common. No, idea nea til zik to me nea a zik dan ding a phenom dan takha kaka sa tola. Our governing principle azik danding missiology thing in a may fair pudding and nole history thing a may fair pudding all till dang in a fair pudding table in dan is there a knowing how to han zigro and tidan is there zikinta kaka in really sub fel pal material colikinta ka material in colekai ka damte de bulai to go in sim tran kaka taka method say to the high journey mo dun Paka building in Baltimore. Take lung le thi hai cement hai tare reng lovin pil hai a thing hai nole ru hai in lakho ma rangwa in lakho chun Paka building in chang tel ti no pil in some type in hai na hun chang ding chu le chun i method material in lakhai le method in sim hai reng kha methodology hai le a hu in som tung wong ai They all need to be connected. The methodology, the materials you collected, the methods you use. Ultimately, they will all be fused together. They will all be connected and in line, in agreement with what you have written. And at last, the conclusion of your paper will reflect a very good academic paper. Okay, so that is about methodology and methods. I hope it's clear enough.